Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at finding area of a circle. So remember, area is a little bit different. We've been finding circumference. Circumference is the distance around a circle. And now we're looking at the space on the inside. So we're finding everything it would take to fill up the circle. And if we look at our formula chart, they tell us the formula we need to use for area of a circle is equal to pi times radius squared. Now remember, this does not mean pi times radius times 2. That exponent tells us that this really says pi times radius. So I'm going to go back to the problem and let's look at it. What is the area, so I'm looking for area, of the circle that has a diameter of 10 meters? So that is important information. I know my diameter is 10 meters. If my diameter is 10, then I can figure out my radius, which will be 5 because the radius is half of the diameter. And now that I've annotated everything that I need to on my circle, I'm going to go back to my formula. And I see pi times radius times radius. And for pi, I will use 3.14, or 3 and 1400ths. Times the radius. So I'm not going to say times 10 because that's the diameter. I need to use the value of the radius itself. So times 5 and times 5. And because all we're doing here is multiplication, it does not matter what order I multiply in. So I'm going to multiply 5 times 5 first because I know 5 times 5 is 25. So I have 3.14 times 25 now. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to do my calculations. 5 times 4 gives me 20. 5 times 1 plus 2, that's 7. And then 5 times 3 is 15. But now I'm moving a whole nother place value over, so I need to put a placeholder 0. I have 2 times 4, which is 8. 2 times 1, which is 2. And 2 times 3, which is 6. And now I just find the sum of my partial products. So 0, 7, and 8 makes 15. 5, 2, and 1 makes 8. And 6 and 1 makes 7. And again, because I have 2 numbers in my original problem that are behind the decimal, I will have 2 numbers in my solution that will be behind the decimal. So the area of my circle is 78 and 5/10. And that is meters squared because now we're talking about area. And it is 2-dimensional. All right, let's do one more. Steve bought a frying pan that has a radius of 6 inches. Which measurement is closest to the area of Steve's frying pan? So if I'm looking for closest, that means I'm estimating. And they're asking me for area. So this is important. I need to write area because that makes a difference on what kind of formula I'm going to use. But I also see there's not really a picture or a representation for me to maybe annotate on, so I can draw one. So I'm going to draw a circle to represent my frying pan. And it tells me that the radius was 6 inches. So I can represent that radius by starting a point in the center and going to the edge of the circle and labeling it 6 inches. Because it's asking me for area, I'm going to go look at my formula chart, look at my reference materials, and find the formula I need. And I see that area of a circle is pi times radius squared. But remember, we just talked about that does not mean radius times 2. So just for my brain, I'm going to say pi times radius to help me remember. And I know the value that I use for pi is 3.14, which is an approximation, times the radius, which is 6, times the radius again, which is 6. And again, it doesn't matter what order I multiply in. So I'm going to do 6 times 6 first. So I get 6 times 6 is 36. So 3.14 times 36 will give me my area. And I can already estimate if I need 3 and a little extra groups of 36, then 18 and 8 inches squared is too low. 28.3 inches squared is too low. And 37.7 inches squared is going to be too low. So I can estimate that my answer is going to be D, but we'll want to do the math just to follow up and check our solution. So we're going to come over here and do some calculations. So 6 times 4 gives me that 24. 6 times 1 plus 2 is 8. 6 times 3 is 18. I'm going to add my placeholder of 0. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 1 plus the extra 1 is 4. And then we have 3 times 3, which is 9. So now I just find the sum of my partial products. So 4, 8, and 2 makes 10. 8, 4 plus 1 is 13. And 9 and 2 more is 11. So we get 113.04, which again is very close to the estimation of 113 1/10 inches squared. All right, thank you very much.